Oh, happy other side of the Lionsgate portal, y'all. Happy post 8/8. Um, happy new energies. Happy new creations. And as we're waiting for anyone else to show up here, you know how sometimes we're asked to like pray for what we want, or we set an intention for like the collective or what we want for the world. And we want to be of service and we want to give from what we have. And we just like we want to ease any suffering that anybody else or anything else might be feeling. Um, but I'm curious, and I'd love for y'all to respond to this in the chat here. Just whatever comes up or as it comes up, but really put a little bit of thought into it and feeling into it. If everything was perfect, if we were living heaven on earth right now, is everything was exactly as it should be. They need feeling, they need feeling. Oh my God, they need healing or fixing. That was my combination of healing and fixing, but that didn't work. Um, if it didn't need to be saved, if it didn't need to be different than what it was all just not, oh my God, it's imperfection because God is perfect and of course everything is perfect. But if we were really, if you were living in Shangri-La, what would you pray for? What would you pray? What would be your prayer and why? And let that sit in your heart a little bit. Let just kind of run through you. What would you pray for and why? And what might be inspiring that? If I don't need to save anything, if everything is perfect, hmm. Let me see. We have a couple of responses. Thank you, Barbara. Uh, Joy, yeah, Joe, yes, interesting shifts for sure of the 8/8. Old injuries seem to be healing. I love that. We'll get into the discussion about the 8/8 and kind of what I felt as well as I was on Mount Shasta. Barbara, I would not pray for anything, but I would be full in gratitude, I think. Wow. But what happens after the gratitude wears off? If it wears off? What if we're beyond like, oh my God, everything is amazing and it's so good and I'm so grateful, and that gratitude just becomes part up the part of the up leveling energetically, that it starts becoming your new normal. It just becomes just part of who you be and you just radiate it. And it's like you get to such a place of joy that it just happens to be so naturally you that it doesn't feel separate from you. Or like it's a peak experience that then goes away. If you're living that gratitude, because as physical manifested beings, we continue growing. So the gratitude isn't the end. It's a doorway. It's a doorway into something else. And again, I'm playing with you right now, so I love your answer. Don't get me wrong. I just want to keep expanding what else is possible. Because Barbara, I want to like challenge you to like that expansion. It's like, okay, gratitude, amazing. And what else? Um, Lori, my prayer would be for all kinds of creation to come through me because it would be such a wonderful thing. I love that. To be in co-creation with the divine even more and to experience even more of that, perhaps, as you're shaking your head. Totally right. So get that. And that can be a prayer. That's like that's communion. Communing. My words are off today. I'll try to slow down. Communing, having communion with creation, with the divine. It's beautiful. Joe, I think for the rest of the world to be in Shangri-La. Bro, I'm saying they're already in Shangri-La, but you want them to know perhaps that they're in Shangri-La as well. That could be part of it that we could create together. Yes. I like what Lori said. Creation, this is from Barbara. Creation flowing through me. That would feel like a continuing flowing. My prayer would be for the expansion of the joy. I love that. I would pray for this moment. Thank you, Tara. I would pray for this moment to continue and want the time and space to create endlessly. Nice. And I'm assuming that you're creating from that place that Barbara was saying, Linda, from that place of gratitude, from that place of knowing. Um, Not from a place like, hey, please keep it around because it's gonna fall, the shoe's gonna fall one day. And so let me please continue because I hope that it continues because what if it doesn't? It's like, let me create this for this moment to not just continue, but to keep expanding upon itself, to keep expanding. Part of me would pray for the capacity to be able to hold that because it could be so overwhelming. It's like, please grant me the strength and the willingness and the wisdom to allow me to receive as much of this as I'm capable and to keep expanding into that, right? And of course, that's the acclamation phase. But as you're building on that prayer, it's like, what else is possible? What else can we create? What else can we play with? And part of what I love about this exercise is that what y'all are asking for, you wouldn't be able to ask for it unless you had a concept of it. Like somewhere within your being, it's beyond the potential of that existing, and it's already there. And it's how the healers of the world, the some that would be considered the saints or the ascended masters, or however you want to describe them, the gurus that could bring in this type of energy. And y'all have heard it. I'm not saying anything new, but they were able to bring in the prayer of a higher vibrational outcome because they already saw the healing that took place. They already saw the other side. They already were in the rejoicing of what was there instead of in the place where they were trying to figure out how they can save or fix or do. There was they saw the illumination before the person that needed the healing was asking for the healing and ready to receive the healing. They saw the place of illumination before that person could. The person held the faith, but they held the knowing. And so I'm inviting you all to empower yourselves in your prayers, at least periodically. I would tell you all the time, from that place of knowing, from the place of knowing. And we may be going through something challenging, or a lot of energies are coming in, or we're seeing the world in a particular place. It seems like I talk about this every call, and I apologize if I sound like a broken record. But we know that those are temporary synapses of time. They're not the whole of what's really taking place. They're small indicators of what happens to be playing out, but they're not the reality. Those things are the karma and the retribution of what's coming into accord with a higher vibrational state that it already knows itself to be in. But it's going through its own chrysalis to evolve and to be reborn, resurrected from the place. And sometimes we'll go through those minor little tiny resurrection things. and they can be a blip in our day. And sometimes they're prolonged because we're really attuning into something that we're ready to transform in a way that we're just not willing to hold it anymore from the perspective where I need to save it or that it's broken. It's just like it's time. We're standing up on our feet. We're going. And whatever inaction has been slowing down the energy from moving in a forward direction, well, I'm choosing to provide it with the impetus of my knowing that it's already on the other side of what it believes it still has to heal. So if we don't live like the world is the problem at hand, and we live with the awareness that the problem, the seeming problem at hand, is guiding us into a deeper truth of the love that we have within, and it's clearing us. If you can sit in the gratitude of your prayer, Barbara, and everybody on this call, goes for me also, that this is coming up because I know where I'm going. I'm actually already there. I'm just remembering how to get there. If you can pray for that moment to continue, Linda, and for the time and space to create it endlessly. Yeah, Carlotta, if you can be aware that you're not alone in that creation that we're creating together, that spirit, that source, that infinite abundance that lives here. If you can be in divine acceptance, divine acceptance. And what does that mean? Acceptance that the force that is orchestrating every moment of your being, the exact perfection that had to be created for you to experience whatever you're experiencing, the trillions multiplied by trillions of possibilities that had to fall into place for you to have the moment that you're having right now. For us to be in awe and in divine acceptance of a force that created that. When we can remember who's in our team creating that, and that it's so precise to the blade of grass in your 100 acres. That all of it has been created so that you can have this moment. To be in the divine acceptance of that and to pray into that divine acceptance. It's profound. See if you can feel into the expansion even in your solar plexus and in your heart with that possibility, with that prayer. Joe would want, Joe, yeah, for the world to be in Shangri-La, right? And how do you know the world's in that Shangri-La? It comes through your witnessing. And how can you witness Shangri-La unless you know it? It would be a foreign concept to you. Y'all have heard the story of like when there was like indigenous shamans that were standing on the ocean. Again, this is an old thing, and I'm gonna massacre it a little bit, but I'll get to the gist of it. Native Americans were standing at the ocean front looking out into the ocean, and the shamans began to see these shapes that were formed out just beyond what the typical vision would be. And the shaman's going, look at the things that are coming towards us, and nobody else can see it except the shaman. Nobody else can see it except the shaman. And then the shaman would see these rowboats with these men wearing these weird helmets and these weird clothing rowing onto the shore. And the Native Americans, the people from the tribe were so curious where these people appeared from. They were in awe. They thought they came from the heavens, that they all automatically appeared out of nowhere. Um, but they didn't have the codes, the interpretation, the translation of what a sailing ship looked like. They didn't have the capacity to see it because it wasn't part of their consciousness. And so, like those natives, Joe, you get to be the shaman that gets to see and experience that Shangri-La and make it real for others. In that prayer, your prayer gets answered through your beingness of your awareness. You have to convince, you just have to show. And yes, Lori, of course, all kinds of creation to come through you, because it would be wonderful feeling. And to be the expander for that, to be the generator for that in other places, to know that you're a generator of that wonderful feeling of the knowing of the creation of all kinds that can take place with a thought of what you choose to articulate. And you're asking and receiving. Amazing. Amazing. What else do we have on that? I think that's what everybody wrote in. Uh, when you're out in that way, it makes any doubt seem so implausible. Yeah, and what this is like, doubt doesn't even, when you put it that way, thank you. Thank you, Donna. See, clarification. Um, yeah, doubt doesn't become a thing. It's just, we can be in the curiosity of how what we know will manifest, even though we may not know how it will manifest. All of us have gone through cycles of life where things were going great and then where things were going not so great. And they've been cycles. And through your decades of experience, I think I speak safely in this group. It's decades of experience. Um, you've somehow managed to land in good spaces through the not so good spaces. Whether you feel like you're in a not so good space right now or not, just you've always somehow managed to come back and experience something that has touched you. To have an experience where you have felt joyful, most of, no, everybody here. To have an experience that you felt relaxed or taken care of or abundant. In the decades, you have experienced that in one way or another. In the decades, you've experienced the feeling of victory, of overcoming something. You've experienced playfulness in those decades. You've experienced grief. You've experienced confusion. You've probably experienced ecstasy in one way or another. So doubt creeps in when we're in observance of the reptilian mind. But what this and what that, and this has to come in. And it makes sense. And we're aware that those emotions and feelings and those precautions are going to be emotions or triggers that we're going to feel in this human form. So we're not going to say those will be taken away. No one's going to save you from those. No one has the magic wand to say you will never experience anxiety or worry ever again in your life. If anybody promises you that, tell them to write you the $100 million check along with it as well, because they'll have plenty of money left over from what they're willing to bottle up and sell. But this is an invitation to have at your foundation the knowing that you've navigated all these things before and you're doing it that much better now, with that much more strength, that much more wisdom, the ability to get back to yourself, that you're not doing this alone, and that you're tapping into yourself in ways that you've never have before, that you're becoming and realizing more and more that you are your source and you are your supply. That those things that we've made our gods for a long time, whether they be relationships or money or safety or whatever it is, our children, um, whatever it is that we have put on that altar as our source and our supply, isn't running the show as much as it used to. We're getting back to ourselves. We're coming back home. We're discovering the roadmap to where heaven on earth really lives. Putting less emphasis on expecting something else to be that for us so that we don't have to do the work. Because it's so much easier if someone just shows me and gives it to me. No one's going to give it to you. They can't. We can show each other the doorway back home. We are sacred mirrors for one another into what's possible and also what's keeping you from that becoming a possibility. But nobody can do it for you. Nobody's preventing you from it. Nobody. Nobody's keeping you locked out. They can't. We can give them the authority and project it onto them and use that as a victim perspective as to why we can't get to where we want to be. And some of us are going to have a more challenging time to get there than others in different ways. But those challenges are part of our refinements as well. That contraction is part of the perfection of the blade of grass that is our reality, that is here for us, that is here to remind us to be in that divine acceptance. And again, the reptilian part of us, that anxiousness, the chemistry that runs through, that wants to be in safety and comfort and wants to be held. And yes, we certainly understand. That breathe into like your real foundation, like the stable foundation. That which we've said is the foundation before wasn't a stable foundation. It's a foundation with billions of cracks in it. And that's why we were always waiting for the other shoe to drop, because we know that there's cracks in the foundation subconsciously. We've been relying on a foundation that doesn't really support us, but it's the best one we had. So thank God for it. It's the best one that we had, perhaps in our awareness, not in truth. But there's the foundation of being in that purity state, being in divine acceptance, remembering who walks with you, remembering that that energy walks next to you, behind you, in front of you, and in you. If we settle into the heaven on earth that that truly is, and have perspective for the moments as being the moment, not the definition of what the rest of our lives is going to be like, then we can keep tapping into the light pillar, light body foundation that is supporting your journey, that is activating your heart, that is expanding your etheric field, and that wants you to thrive in vitality, that wants you to be so immersed in the expansionary energy, beauty that you are, that you can't help but to share it with others. That's where your service comes from. That's where the core of your service comes from. And then you're just a walking being of eternal light in its most amplified state in the present moment, knowing that the work here that you'll be doing, that we're doing, is never done. So don't look for an end game. You may get to the top of the stairs and be able to catch your breath for a little bit. Enjoy the views from the top of the mountain. But we're energetic beings. We never die. We never continue experiencing and expanding. So any of y'all who are looking for the respite, where is the end game? Where can I finally get there? Maybe when I die, I can finally rest. No, you're not going to rest there. You're going to be given something else to do. So if you're looking for that escape clause, you're not escaping anywhere. So the whole thing, I don't want to be here anymore. I'll be happy when this ends. I'm tired. I'm confused. I'm alone. Welcome to being energy. But the less that we make those unreal realities, if that makes sense, the realities that we call manifestations in the earthly realm, which has a thick blanket of a veil over it, separating from the cosmic, it's because we're supposed to have this worldly, earthly experience. We just are. There's no mistake in it. We know that we chose it. But it wasn't the foundation that has the billions of cracks in it that chose it. It's that light foundation that is a sturdy beyond anything that you can conceive, that chose it, that knows. So the human experience, what we're acclimating to, and we're being supported in acclimation, which I'll get into the Lionsgate portal in 8.8. We're seeing the prayer being answered. We're living in a time of where you can actually finally pray as a collective, as mom and dads living in suburbs, going about just kind of trying to get through our days and our lives, if you will, with some semblance of meaning and purpose and joy. But we're at such a point that the prayers of perfection, like asking from prayers already seeing the perfection, or something that you can finally start seeing the light of the day of, and the light of day. You know what I mean? I hope. If you don't, please ask. So pray, y'all, pray, like really in devotion, in meditation, amplify that prayer. Get more familiar with what that prayer might be for you. And let me look up the definition of prayer really quickly also, because I want to get into a more precise explanation of that. Because there's something here for us, y'all. It's setting such a ceremonious, reverent, immaculate field of creation, and to put it into life by activating its energy, by activating its life force with your life force, and having that become more powerful because you're adding your attention, your heart resonance, your light being resonance to it, that it becomes something bigger than it was in the field by itself. It's a technology of prayer. It's like you're plugging into electrical socket and like gets all this voltage. Um, an invocation or act that seeks to activate a report with an object of worship. This is Wikipedia. Through deliberate communication. In the narrow sense, the term refers to an act of supplication and intercession directed toward the deity. It's the first one. Prayer can also have the purpose of thanksgiving or praise, and in comparative religion, closely associated to meditation or charms of spell. It's the very beginning from Wikipedia. It's an invocation or act that seeks to activate a rapport with an object of worship through deliberate communication. Love that. And in that prayer, seeing that Shanghala, the act of worship, it's like, what are you in devotion to truly? What are you in devotion to? And the highest word that I can come up for me, and it falls short, but I don't know how else to explain it, is love. And the highest version of love in the way in which I could interpret it based on where I am and my different experiences of that, and my hopes of what that might be also, as I keep having direct experiences with my interpretation of love. But that's words for the mind, and there's something in that I feel in my heart also. And I allow my heart's interpretation, the feeling, the alchemy, the energy that comes through there, that knows through feeling, from sensation, from connection, in a way that my mind can't explain to someone else also. So again, I love that I was bringing in that plugging, that adding energy, plugging it in and amplifying its voltage. And as we are in devotion to that and nurture it and feed it and allow the divine union of our energy to intersect with that energy, it becomes an exponentially more powerful technology for the expansion of our illuminated creations. Why do we create? because we're learning how to experience even more of the divine. And the divine has no limits. Anything that you want, the divine will supply. Anything. Divine says, you want that experience? Let me give it to you. You want this other experience? Let me give it to you. You have that? Let me give that to you. It's like, what are you putting out there? How are you communicating it? Why are you communicating? Where are you connected with? And divine says, yes, 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 I love you. Yes, 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 everything. Yes. You need a light bulb. You need to open the door. You need to have a drink of water. You need to have a worrying thought. Divine says, yes, I love you so much. I'll give you everything. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. And yes again. The divine is infinite supply. Infinite. It'll never say, I won't be there because I'm having a bad day, or you're being an asshole today, so I'm gonna think I'm gonna snub you. It's not gonna say, hey, I need to go on vacation for 2 weeks because I need some me time. It's not gonna say, well, I'll get back to you after, I get off a customer service call, or after I get caught up from my nap, or I need to go see my mother and I'll call you after I talk to her. It's like no. It's whatever. It's yes, 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 yes. I need to go take care of all the suffering that's happening in East Asia right now. So you're not as important because that's happening right now. So I'll get back to another day when this is calmer. Not once. That doesn't exist. And the divine's willingness to be your infinite supply. So remember your prayer. Remember the power of that prayer. Remember that as you're sitting in that prayer, again, being in that invocation, building rapport. Where do you want to start building rapport from? It's a hell of a lot more fun to build rapport from a place of playfulness and excitement and anticipation of awe than it is of building rapport with someone that you feel like you have to repair things with, that you have to be in acts of diplomacy, that you have to be in concessions and negotiations because if I don't act in some way, then I'm not going to get what I want. But if I don't give them what they want, then nothing's going to happen and something's going to be taken away. So let me give myself up and let me sacrifice me so I can bring peace to everything. And and none of y'all have ever experienced that, right? It's only been me. It's only me. I'm sure it's unique to me. Remember your prayers. Set a high standard, the most stable foundation for your prayer, and expect it to be answered. As you set the bar shall be met. So I know I love that April sent out that thing about the Olympics and the email subject line. It's like it reminds me of the pole vaulters and setting new records and setting the bar even higher. It's like, there we go. There we go. There we go. Um, we're at a point where more records want to be broken, like more of what is possible. Those glass ceilings are ready to be shattered. And we're the ones that have to set the standards for those glass ceilings so we can bust right through them. I'll get into some Q&A in a little bit, and I want to give you all the code for this week since we're going through these codes. So we're sitting in meditation for a little while also. But just a quick download from Mount Shasta. It was freaking amazing to be there and to be in the land. And it's Mount Shasta, if y'all heard, is Mount Shasta. And the spirits are up there, people seeing spaceships and stars moving around. I experienced some of that. Amazing. Um, I guided people through a beautiful water ceremony on the mountain one day, and it was just, people were just in tears receiving and opening up. It was wonderful. Um, where it really touched me, well, all of it touched me, but a couple of the most impactful things that I received that I feel are wonderful to share on the call today is when we were sitting in a room, there was a conference room, there was about 90 people sitting in a room. And we can feel like there's an intention of holding the field of what's possible, what's amplifying on the earth and in New Earth reality, what we're being downloaded, how the Ascended Masters are showing up, how um, we're being supported into new type of creations and people really showing up as an act of service of holding, being a pillar for what's possible in that. And I felt that in the room, like people really holding it, like the authority of their light and their capacity not to wobble, to like really hold it steadily. And I felt it not only there, but I felt it in other groups around also. Meg Benedicta was leading a group. Aurora Lunastar was leading a group up there. Emily Harrison was leading a group up there. Bruce Lipton was up there leading a group. There was other people. There's lots of groups that really it's was awesome. But as we were tapping into the room, I can feel how stable the other groups were also. And then it took me out and it took me into the stability that we're harnessing within ourselves here in this type of group. Like our capacity to hold that higher octave, I've never felt it so strongly as a collective. I'm getting the chills as I'm talking about this. Whatever we've been navigating over the last 10 years to get to this place, it may feel like some of it's wobbly, but I kind of emphasize enough just how powerful our light has become as a collective. There's just no mistaking it. There's no waffling about it. There's no like, well, one day it'll be stable. No, it's like collectively, whatever I'll call it, our communities, whatever communities that are choosing to be pillars in that capacity, however they define it, um, it is alive and thriving and becoming even stronger. It is time. Thank you, Donna. It is time. Breaking the 4 minute mile in the last lifetimes. It's time. And it's time to, we're aware that it's time. The time is now. We're doing it. It's not might happen tomorrow. It's going on. It is real, y'all. And all that's possible because of you. And I pause because I'm hoping that you'll breathe that in and open your hearts and mind to receiving even just a drop of that, if not the whole river, please. All this is possible because you chose to say yes to it, because you knew without knowing, but knowing somehow through that divine acceptance, even though you always didn't trust it, but you knew it, that is where we're winding up. That is part of a landing on a staircase that we've been climbing. It's landing, y'all. Remember, it's a landing. There's more to go, but in the most positive of ways. It is what we give meaning to, how we interpret it, and how we choose to amplify our light or dim it if we choose to. There's no right or wrong. Hey, if you want to be in suffering, I will hold you in your suffering up to a certain point. Um, but I invite you, let's play in the awesomeness of what's possible. That's a lot more fun. definitely a lot more fun. But again, the amplification of of how we're holding vibrational space for the light energy that's been coming through and what's being resurrected from that, powerful, powerful what came through. So I share that as one of the biggest transmissions of awareness that I received during an amazing event um, that was guided there. And also how important um, the big takeaway of being in community with others in this way and to be in a heart space of other people who are just like, I'm I know that and I'm looking for it, but I'm already there, but I don't know that I'm there, but I know we're gonna get there kind of energy. Um, and kind of calibrating to each other. It's a wonderful and it's activating to be in community in these ways. Um, there's something that touches our hearts and amplifies us and recharges us. Um, and reminds us of the playfulness and the creativity um, and how we can be free just to be ourselves and in community in that way. So yeah, I felt a big opening to receiving even more by being in person, being in community. Of course, doing this is part of the receptivity as well. And being in person is something that that'll be wonderful to cultivate more. So we'll try to create things here. I'll invite you all to other things that'll be coming up as well. And as there's opportunities for us to be in community, um, I hope that you can join us. And if you have something, let us know because we may show up to yours. Um, so remember, you can lead as well. You don't have to wait. You can be the creator of these things, not the one that's always waiting for the invitation to the party. Well, I don't know what to do, and I'm alone, and no one's inviting me, and I can't find it. Well, create something. Create something. It can be two people that show up, or one, or it can be 100 or 1,000. Or you can invite someone to co-create with you. And I really feel that's where we're going. I've talked about that for the last 4 years. It's like the energy of the new earth and new Lemuria and everything that we talk about. It's all dependent on co-creation. It's like everybody having the opportunity to be in their essence, the essence of who they are. And, we can call it their divine genius, what you're wired for, and allowing other people to be in theirs. And then the mix of that, this beautiful creation takes place where you're not the one that has to support the whole field. You're not the one sacrificing so that you can get or so that others can receive, but you're in a playful co-creation. You're in a place where you can actually let go and let God hear the messages that are uniquely follow the guidance that is inspired through you. Speak in integrity from that, create an integrity from that, and trust that whatever is to unfold will unfold. It's beautiful what can take place. So those are the biggest takeaways from Mount Shasta. Meg Benedicta wants me to create something with her in Mount Shasta. Maybe we'll do that next year. It'd be fun for if that happens. If y'all are interested, let me know. If I have enough of y'all are like really wanting to go to Mount Shasta next year, we'll do something. I've been a lot of times, so it's like, Donna, you're interested? Okay, cool. Lori, all right. I know there's a few of y'all that'll be interested. Um, I like to get to like a group like 50 of us to go. Yeah, like a big, so there can be like, anyway, it's another creation. I'll talk to Meg about it also. Um, there's a few other people that want to create other things in other places as well, but again, that's for another conversation. Um, I want to bring y'all the source code for this week. But I feel like we should go maybe into Q&A first and see if anybody has anything to share, bring up, and then we'll go into some stillness as we sit with the invocation for this week. And you remember the last 2 weeks, if you were on the calls or if you weren't, we'll just go through it. The first week is I am a pillar of cosmic light. And you don't have to keep going through it. I'll remind you of it, so we'll pick up the energy again. If you sat with it for the week or for a few days, it's already activating in you. If you haven't done it, if you haven't sat with it for a few days, I would encourage you to. So I'm a pillar of cosmic light was number one. Last week is I am original devotion. And as you sit in silence with that, just be curious as to what comes through. What is coming up for healing? What is coming up for reconciliation as you sit through those? And again, we'll go into the new one here in a second. But before we do that, again, I'm curious, does anyone have a comment or a question or anything that they want to bring up, an experience of the Lion's Gate, what they feel is coming through? Hey, Kimra, good to see you, and Eileen and Donna. I think I said hello to you earlier, but I don't remember now. I know I acknowledged you in the thing. Barbara, yes, please. And welcome.
I never cared much for watching horoscopes and numbers and the planets and all that. And so I didn't really care too much to learn about the 888. But I heard about it, in groups like this. And it really affected me. And I know it's not just that day, it's like before and after.
Yeah.
But it affected me with like just tons and tons of downloads, tons of creative ideas for my business. The creation and the ideas and the new energy for what I already do, that it's really inspired this whole, I'm all about the rainbows and the rainbow this and the 7 colors and all of that. But now what's come in is ignite the rainbow within, ignite your intuition, ignite your life purpose. So I've got like 5 ignite things that I could offer right now. And because I deal with 7s, I'm waiting to be inspired with 2 more ignite things. But I can't just attribute it to the 888 because I am ripe for it. And this year I'm apparently in year 1. So it's the start of a whole, 9-year cycle. And it's just everything got exciting again. And then on the Wednesday night calls that I do, they've been very successful. And the comments I get during the show, during the session, have been really good. And then the emails I get later are also very inspiring. And like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right track. And on Wednesday, we're doing the color band, the yellow color band. So I've committed to 7 weeks in a row with doing the colors. But it's funny, this whole commit word, I don't like committing to anything I'm going to do next week or next year. It's like I never wanted to commit to anything, but all of a sudden I can commit. I can commit to the 7 weeks. I'm freer. I am expansive more than I've ever been before. So it's like things are really looking good. And I've finally decided for sure about a month ago that I am not retiring, that I'm going to follow through with all of these wonderful things. And I keep being reminded it's all my choice. I can quit anytime. I don't have to commit my life to this. It's just committing day by day, week by week, or like 7 weeks at a time. But it's easy, it's natural, and it's flowing again.
Beautiful. There's a few things that I want to peel back the layers on. Remind me of commitment. Now, this is wonderful. As y'all know, we're going into Egypt in September. Carla and her granddaughter are joining us. I'm so excited. of what's coming through. It's absolutely amazing. Um, I was aware of these things, and there's just a magic. Um, it's not even a, yes, it's magic, but there's a profound intelligence of whoever was that constructed these temples in Egypt, in Peru, and the Maya, all throughout Central America and Turkey. Again, these architectural structures that thousands of years ago were built with the precision of the astronomy, of Sirius gateways, connecting to an Orion belt during a particular procession, of having a temple built in the Yucatan in Mexico that every 100 years, exactly on the equinox, the light passes precisely through three windows. And it's meant to embark a new season of planting a certain thing and a coating of something else. Um, we're still trying to figure out where all that is and why, and how are they able to build something so precise with technology that we barely have, if we even have it now, um, is in place. So it's like this wonder. It's like, what is that? Um, and again, we don't have the answers because they were advanced and connected. And yet they lived a long time ago, and they barely invented the wheel according to our history. So what do we know? Um, and again, that's one history, and we like to project them to be as advanced. But we can also look at it again from a very dynamic perspective, that they're here now in another multiverse, creating it simultaneously, and we're experiencing it now. And there is no such thing as time, and everything is happening now. Well, there's a whole nother perspective. And then what do we do with that? And how do we sit with it? And how do we interpret it? How do we have a relationship with that? And how do we build the future using that technology, if it's here to assist us? Wow. Okay. But we realize, regardless of whatever those interpretations are, that there's something there, that their capacity to do that, to align with the stars and star systems, to call in certain things, there's something there. And because the Sirius alignment takes place between the end of July and mid-August, and we call it the Lion's Gate on 8/8, or something happens during the solstices or the eclipses and all that, and there's just a significant shift that potentially is occurring because of the way that we energetically attune to it. What also comes through is that these are also moments that, regardless of what our beliefs around that are, a benefit to us is that we can pause and be present to just something that is occurring that we would normally just not pay attention to, and just be in prayer of ourselves, not praying to it, but pausing and having that prayer within us. It's like, what is articulating through me at this time? Without having to believe in anything other than this is a moment for me to pause and to tune in. If there's an amplification that happens because of these alignments, and you feel that amplification and you want to name it as a Lionsgate portal, amazing, but you don't have to. But also there's something about a collective dropping into and electrifying a specific energy at a particular time that also amplifies what's possible and what we receive through the collective. So again, we're igniting that and making it more accessible by bringing a shared consciousness to it and making it bigger in the field. And then as we fall into just having presence with the moment, um, there's something that somehow seems to be magnified in my experience. And I think what you spoke of in that magnification, it's as you decided to drop into it and give it some of your time, some of your energy, that's like, wait, in this pause, something amplified. Amazing. So good job in being curious and pausing, and how fun you got to play with it. And in that playfulness, because it was playfulness, even curiosity, even as we're serious about the curiosity, there's playfulness and curiosity. And that settles something within us that allows us to receive in ways that we weren't receiving before. So I love that. Commitment. The difference in your commitment, I would ask you to explore is perhaps you're realizing that your place of commitment is coming not from the doing, but in your intentionality. And that's why your willingness to commit is alive rather than I'm not going to commit because I have to do just for the sake of doing. Screw that. I'm committing because something's alive in my heart and I want to give my devotion to that in my presence now. You don't have to sign any contracts that are going to imprison you into something that's going to trap you out of a state of expansion that you don't really want to choose to be in. So you committed to a relationship with your husband for all of these years, and that was a commitment that your heart said yes to. It wasn't that I'm going to be a wife, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do being a wife. No, there was something greater than the doing that you said yes to committing to. It's a whole different type of commitment.
Well, I think too, the time commitment, it's like, wow, 49 years. And I knew him like a year and a half before. So 50 years, but 49 like marriage commitment. And someone else said today, wow, you really committed. And I said, well, all I did was commit to be married and like, let's go one day at a time. I didn't know I was committing a lifetime. I, I'm of the faith, like when you're married, you stay married. And then I've changed my mind over that too. But you make a decision, you can always change your mind. That's what I think. But this whole 49-year commitment, it just kind of turned out that way. And I committed, month by month, week by week, day by day, or whatever. And so I think that's where the difference is now with the business. I am committed because of that devotion, like you say. The devotion is there, the willingness is there to put on the weekly sessions, to put on different products and services. It's more a natural thing now rather than, oh my God, now I have to make 6 newsletters, send out emails, write a blog, blah, all of that. So now I am doing what I want to do when I want to do it. And it's turning out pretty good.
And in that commitment, if you had to write a blog or if you had to send out the emails, there'd be a different energy to it.
Yeah.
Because of the way that you're showing up. So something that we spoke about weeks ago that it triggered some of y'all in some of the words, but I'm going to bring it up again anyway, because if it triggers you, good. Good, 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 good. And remember, there's interpretations of this. In this commitment, and we'll call it the commitment of your marriage as an example, but it relates to what you're committing to now. There's an essence of sacrifice. In order to get something, I realize that I have to give something. I have to give my time. I have to give my energy. That's a sacrifice. If you're choosing to be one place, you're sacrificing being there as opposed to being somewhere else, Laura Young. I know you didn't like sacrifice, but it's what it is. In order for me to grow something, I realized I have to be invested in it. And by being invested in it, there's something that I have to give. Always. I can tell you the people in this world who are going to suffer a lot in our community are the ones that are waiting for the magic pill to kick in. The one that are waiting for the event to change everything. And once that event comes in, then we're going to be saved. You're the event. And until you get to that realization, you're going to keep suffering, waiting for the event that's going to free you. Because it's not coming. It's not coming. Neither is the annihilation of the earth, that maybe that'll be the event that'll relieve me of my suffering. Nah, you'll just transition into something else if that were going to happen. You're never going to escape yourself. Thank God. Thank God, why would you want to? Freaking amazing. Truly, you're so amazing. Makes me well up just even just, ah, y'all, so powerful. So again, sacrifice. And then you surrender. It's like, okay, I'm committing. I'm committing is surrendering. All right, I'm willing to give up this for this, and I'm gonna do it. I'm sacrificing. So all right, let the chips fall where they may, because I'm going in. I'm surrendering into it and I'm saying yes. And then the surrender, you're aware that you're being given exactly what you need as you need it. You're aware that your manifestation is not just your own creation in that commitment, that you're supported. It's evolving, that you're surrendering to letting the divine demonstrate to you what's next in the day by day, as you said, Barbara. I'm committing the day by day, and the divine is showing you day by day. He's not showing you 100 years from now. Even though he did show me I was only going to be married 18 years, but I didn't know what that was going to look like. You know, some of us have those points of claircognizance and being able to tap into potentials in the future, but so what? It still happened. I still had to go through it. It didn't prepare me for anything other than, hey, I heard I was only going to be married 18 years. Oh, interesting. Still had to go through the experience. And then you go into a period of service after you've invested and after you've surrendered. There's the act of service. How can, from what I receive, how can I serve my community? How can I serve the people that I love? How can I step out of my own way and take away the fear of being visible, take away the fear of not being received? Because I know as my act of service that I have to be present. I have to show up. And that's the act of selflessness. In selflessness, you know that your fears are not bigger than your purpose, how you're showing up. And when you have those ingredients in place, of course you're going to commit. How could you not? But they come from this place that it just seems like organic. It's like something clicks in and we know it. It's like your higher self and your heart and your soul know it. It's like bing, ding, 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 it dings. It's like, yep, that's something I'm willing to commit to. Because it takes the alchemy of all those components that feeds your soul, that is part of you, that's part of what you're here to do, whether you do it for a day or for your lifetime. But you realize what the essence of that is. It is divine service versus hamster wheel 3D. But the hamster wheel 3D is service also in its own way, right? It's not this versus that, but how can we take all of it in as an act of the divine, allowing us to expand, allowing us to have clarity and compassion simultaneously. Discernment and love. So the alchemy of your commitment is entrenched in those pillars. and you can feel it. And when you're in that, when you receive the confirmations that people are receiving it, that's just source again saying, hey, I told you, you're onto something. And when you get the chirps and no one's responding, source is just going, all right, are you still going to trust that you're being in a place of service and surrender? Are you being selfless with it? Are you aware that you're creating for something else? Can you carry the awareness that heaven on earth lives within you and allow that to direct your creation rather than I'm not being loved, I'm not being acknowledged, people don't want me, people don't see me, this is hard, people aren't ready, I'm misunderstood, I don't know how to express myself, I don't know how to do marketing, I don't know how to do that. But really allow the flow of what you feel is true in your heart to be the guide. And if you need to crumble the business because your service, surrender, selflessness, and sacrifice are being redirected in another place, then so be it. And that's the part of the surrender, with the awareness that you're being guided exactly on your right path. And when you don't know, you can reach out to others to help hold your hand and to support you as you gain clarity. To let them mirror for you what wants to be revealed that maybe you can't see on your own. And to be in the fluidity of that. But I want to congratulate you, Barbara, and all of that, because that's what you're doing. That's why the energy, the spark, the motivation is arising in you, and you're holding it so beautifully. That's why the reflection that you're getting back from community is showing up in the way that it is. And that's what's just cheerleading you on. It's like, all right. And how wonderful is it to be received?
Yeah, and I want to thank you because you're holding the space for all of us. And I
Mm,
know it and I feel it every week, even if I can't make it. It's your what I like to call your safe, sacred container.
mm,
That's what I try to create. And I know you've created this for us to bloom and grow,
mhm.
lose our fears, whatever. And again, whatever topic you're talking about, we are receiving what we need to receive,
Yeah.
whether it's on topic or not, but it usually is. But so thank you for, being a big part of all of our spiritual growth.
Thank you, love.
Thank you.
It's an honor. Um, and they say, there's on these calls, there's how many people are on here? There's 16 different versions of me right now, right? There's 16 different versions of me that you all are interpreting through your lens for whatever reason. And it's all perfect. Um, so it's quite wonderful. And I surrender to that. It's one reflection that I had from the retreat in Shasta, and lots of different projections in lots of different ways, and it was all again so beautiful. But one was funny. It's like, oh, I'm that version for her. She's, you know what? There was this big process we did. There was like 60 people around, and then eight of us in inside circle, and then I was walking around channeling in the middle of the circle. It was just an interesting process that came through. And I was walking around and I probably channeled for about 20 minutes of what was coming through. They had to pause me because so much was coming through. Um, but one woman came up to me like hours later in the evening. She said, I didn't want to interrupt you and you were busy. I want to talk to you sooner, but I'm a seer and I can see things and I can interpret different things. And I've been watching you for the last couple of days. And she goes, I see what you're doing. It's like, really, what am I doing? She goes, she goes, the best way I can explain it is like, have y'all ever seen The Matrix? Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen The Matrix, there's this guy Neo who's the one, and he's here because he's going to provide the expansion, and he's going to be able to fight the Matrix and do all these things. And so again, he's the one, the chosen one. to bring the liberation out of the matrix so that we can live in without the matrix, without the mechanics, the simulation that's been created by something that tries to control us. And part of the matrix, there's a character that is this grandmother woman, the Oracle, an older woman. It's that Neo, the one, has to go see through part of his initiation. And she provides him like oracular feedback and questions into what's possible for him to make him contemplate how he can expand even more into who he's supposed to become. She is, you remind me of the Oracle in the Matrix. You have this grandmotherly cheerleader. You can see it in us, but you're not going to do it for us. But you're going to tell us, you're going to, ask us enough questions so we can figure it out on our own. And that actually kind of resonated for me. So I thought that was funny, her reflection, her version of me. But I do like doing that. I like provoking your field, and not give answers, because that's no fun for you. And it's not empowering. It's not empowering. And y'all are beautiful, amazing, powerful human beings. And you don't need empowerment. You just need reminders. And a little push off the cliff every once in a while. Yeah. Barbara, thank you so much for that reflection. Yeah. Hey, Tara, what's going on?
Well, through Lionsgate, I came out of the closet, the spiritual closet, through no choice of my own. I had had a great session with Cinnamon Clark right after she was on BTO. And she said to me, Tara, you know what? You've already finished whatever you were supposed to come to do here. And now you're just supposed to play. And that like turned the key for me. So she said, you know what? You should really start like doing some of your psychic things or some of the visions you have on social media. So she said, how about you start on TikTok? I was like, TikTok? I didn't consider that, but it was a good place to get my feet wet.
Yeah.
So I did a few videos.
Wait, you're on TikTok now? You're doing videos on TikTok?
Yeah.
I'm still checking you out. Is it under Terrified?
No, wait. And so do I know how this, I mean, I know Instagram, I know, Facebook from real estate, but did I know that really TikTok was run by the algorithm of who you're connected with on your phone numbers? No. So my daughter called me after a couple of weeks. I was having a little fun. And she said, Mom, you're on TikTok. One of my other daughter's friends said, hey, Shay, do you know that your mother is on TikTok? Like what? She's really into that spiritual thing. I didn't think she was into it though. Well, my daughter, I guess she felt embarrassed. She said she was embarrassed because I said about the Lionsgate.
Awesome.
And I think her main concern was that her in-laws would see, her boss would see, whatever. And I went through all that myself. But anyway, since then I've been like, okay, am I going to continue on TikTok? What I'm going to do here. But anyway, it's just she said to use it as a stepping stone. And it was really great for me because I felt like it was such fun for me to make a video. I didn't really know it was like that creative, that spark.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed getting the inspiration for it, writing it down, and then having to do it all. And I found that's like really where my joy was. Like that was a
Nice.
nourishment for me.
Excellent.
So
Congratulations.
thanks. So when I found that little card that I found in the bookstore of what a creative dream was, I was like, yeah, that's it. Because
Mm.
it made me so happy. It's like said, oh, I'm doing this. But of course now they're like, anyway, they're expanding, their
Mm.
thought of who I am. It's a little hard to accept coming from where I come from, being in the
It's
closet
an
for a little
adjustment.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an adjustment.
It's an adjustment.
But I,
Like people have to get to re-know you in the way that they
yeah,
interpreted you. How many different versions of Tara are out there? According to however many people you know, that's how many different versions there are.
right,
And if different people know you in a particular version and they hold you in that, it's like, hold on a second. Something changed. Who is
yeah.
this person? What's going on there? Joseph says, way to go. Yes, I celebrate you also. Um, I have a question for you, and we're going to get into the source code in a couple of minutes, y'all. So I don't want y'all to hang up before we do that, because I really want y'all to sit with this code. Why do you think your daughter showed up in that way? Don't think of the 3D version. Think of a higher version. Why did she show up in that way?
You know, I think the one that said it to me, she knows the truth, in herself.
Beautiful. Okay. How
Yeah.
else?
Because she was with me when I posted a picture of the 8-8 door I found, and she was with me. And I said, look, Alana, 8-8, what is that? And it was, and she went, yeah. It's
Amazing.
where they've stopped themselves, where we will, what else?
Where they stop themselves?
Or where did I stop myself? Sure,
Ah, okay, right.
sure.
It's about
Oh,
taking
yeah,
responsibility for all of it.
yeah.
Right? So,
And
oh
I
wait,
could
my
have
daughter.
stopped again, she
Yeah, but
tried, and maybe
she
it was
tried
me.
she
Yeah,
tried to mirror you back to you to see
yes,
what you would choose,
right.
right? So,
And I said, no way. I'm not I'm not gonna be stopped.
and that's you seeing no way to your ego, saying, this is fun for me. I'm doing this. So your daughter in her resistance, it's like, what's that resistance? Like, oh, there's part of me that's embarrassed or like shy, and what are other people going to think? What's my family going to think? And um, I'm going to hesitate. It's like but that's just part of what you're navigating as you put yourself out there in a different way, and you're choosing. So, in this case, she didn't act as a projection. The projection would have been, you're bad and you're this and you're that. The way that you saw her was a mirror. Oh, wow, look at what I'm growing through. Look at that mirror that's in front of me. Let me recognize it so that I can see those parts of me that are afraid to move forward. They're going to judge me. They're going to condemn me. They're afraid that people are not going to be part of my life anymore because I choose to be this part of me. But wow, she's showing me what's going on inside of me as I'm nervous of even putting this out, but I know I have to put it out. So I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
And there you are. But you're, again, see your daughter not as like, oh, she's limited in the
right.
way she
Oh,
sees it.
yes,
Hold your daughter and wow, she really showed up for me
yes,
to mirror
yeah,
back to me kind of like these fears that I have,
yeah.
which is beautiful, which then you're mirroring back to her the possibility of overcoming
Mhm.
those objections. So you're serving each other. Um,
Because I was scared, you know.
hmm.
But
This is beautiful. Barbara's saying, I invite you, Tara, um, and all of you to make a video about something that you have learned. I will post it in my private Facebook group. Make sure you join the group, and then I give you permission to post it. That's sweet. Um, so congratulations. I mean, way to come out of the closet. Um, and what a gift. What a gift that you sharing from that space and the freedom that you've given everybody who's seen that video that knows you in the way that they think that they know you. Um, It's wonderful. The freedom that you're giving everybody on this call, including me. Like, look, Tara put this out there. Look, she's having fun with it. Look, she did it in this way. Look, she prepared. It's like all that, and you're sharing as a gift. So thank you. Yeah. All right, y'all. We're going into another code.
I don't think the first one is there though, in case you don't, I can send it, put it in the group, the first one I did, of the TikTok.
Oh, in the TikTok? Well, why
Yeah.
don't you put the link in the chat box for your TikTok and we'll find what it is and we'll just
I
wait for
don't know
more.
where the link is, I'll put it somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, or share it on the Facebook page and then we
Okay.
can get it from there as well.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, we're going to go into another source code and I'm going to do an invocation for it as we drop in and get into just amplifying uh, the energy. And this is going to be a prayer for silence, a prayer for stillness as we go in. We're gonna hold this code after I read the prayer for 5 minutes. When you do it on your own, if you choose to, try to do it for at least 12 minutes. 20 is amazing. Um, and again, the instructions, if you will, with the code is to breathe in, say it out loud or within yourself. And this week's is I am whole. I am whole. Hi, Dawn. It's good to see you. Ah, yes, Dawn. Dawn's coming to Egypt also. I can't wait to see Dawn there. Yes. Carlotta's on. She's coming to Egypt also. So much to share anyway. Um, so as we drop into the source code, again, this one is I am whole. WHOLE, obviously, but still. Um, I am whole. And as you breathe in, as we drop into stillness, the goal is to stay in silence as much as you can in your mind. If there's a thought that comes in, something that tries to redirect you, just go back to the code, I am whole. And whether you go to it 100 times or twice, there is no right or wrong. It's just to bring in this code to bring awareness in. As you're in the code, if you start going to a place where you start receiving messages, you can tell the difference between a thought and a message. You'll know the difference. You will just feel it. Be okay to be in the flow of whatever message is coming through without having to interrupt it. But again, if it's the grocery list or I gotta do this after the call or this call's taking too long, what's happening? Just drop back in. I am whole. I am whole. So I'm going to read the Mantle of Silence decree. I'm going to mute myself for 5 minutes as you sit in silence. And I'll come back, ask a couple questions, see if anybody wants to share, and then we'll end the call from there. So as you relax into your own space, beloved mighty God, I am, and beloved Master Kutsumi, thank you for the gift of your golden mystic mantle of silence. Let me wear it with honor, and let my outer mind be so obedient to the I am presence that it may continue to direct me into my ascension. Let its golden substance of light melt from each of my 4 lower bodies, cause, effect, record, and memory, of every rate of vibration that would impede my progress or cause another individual to stumble on the path. Let the strength of your own ascended master consciousness behold my endeavor to fulfill my own divine destiny, that I may be a light on the path to guide the feet of all those I contact. So be it. I am whole. I am whole. I am whole. And take your time and slowly just come back at your own pace. There's no rush to come back. Just flow with it gracefully, nurturing. It's deliberate time to take, to receive from this code awakening within you more deeply. And again, I would recommend that y'all work with these codes. These codes in these particular ways really helps to bring up and clear out and attune to a mechanism that helps to integrate a pillar of light within you that is unshakable. It's what you're accessing, what you're becoming more embodied in. It's what you're expanding in your capacity to hold with tremendous integrity. Again, what I said earlier on the call, the wobble in the field when I was in Mount Shasta in these groups and when I felt in other communities as well simultaneously is like we're holding those pillars so much more proficiently. And we're becoming those sacred sites. We're becoming those temples as individuals for the amplification of that light. So it's extraordinary what's coming through. And again, thank you all for choosing to accept your divine inheritance by saying yes to amplifying that light. It's beautiful. Is there anyone that wants to share from the experience that they had? If you want to bring something in, Donna, you have your hand raised. And if y'all want to stay in your space and you feel like you want to hang up from the call, there's no judgment or anything. Really honor wherever you are. So entirely up to you. But there's more coming through. So Donna, welcome to the call. You muted yourself again, Donna. You muted and unmuted. There you go.
I said I am, and I couldn't find any words, and then whole came out. I can't. I don't have words to describe the experience. I did have a question though. I really would like the silence decree, the words to that. Can you make that available? I can always re-listen to the call and write it down, but if you have it like on a PDF or something that we can access, a link or something where I can print it.
I will send you the PDF and it has an access of where the source of those teachings come from. So yeah, we'll share that.
Yeah, I would like to even just read it or recite it or say it before I do any of these codes or meditation for that matter. It was really powerful.
Good. I'm glad you felt that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Happy to share.
Thank you.
What did you receive or what comes up for you when I say I am whole? Or you say I am whole?
When you first said that was the code, I was like, oof, I need this one, because I went right to a place of lack. And not that I believe it, but it's the remnants of, and you've been saying during this call, of decades. We have decades of experience, we have decades, and we also have decades of things to discern and sort out. We don't have to dig it up and we don't have to relive it, but the discernment is important because it makes room, it makes the envelope bigger. And so the whole thing is a process of becoming more and more whole. Everything is available to me and I am it. Yet the remembrance is where I judge myself as in lack sometimes. And I have to remind myself, like that's what I put early in the chat when you were saying what exists and what we've done and where we are and what we're creating and co-creating and our sovereignty within it. Yes, it's this weaving of a thing that's amplifying. And you described your Mount Shasta experience as that, knowing about the other groups and how it does happen here and all of that. And that's because we're whole and we're remembering that we're whole. And so the doubt showed up first when you first started, but in the reading of the decree, I remembered what's available in that silent space.
Mm,
And then I found it, and it was a remembering for me that is a place. Some rememberings have become part of how I walk through the world now. This one is one that should be a mantra for me for a while until I embrace it in all the Ds, 3D and up. I can remember it when I'm up here, but when I'm in this space
mm,
of 3D, I have to ground into it and walk with it. And so that's what I
yeah,
got from that meditation.
beautiful. Yeah, keep having your experience with it. And
Yes,
and remember the prayers when you're asking, when you're creating, when you're in devotion, that space that we talked about early on the call, um, and reciprocation of the energy that you're choosing to expand. Um, Try to remember to do it from this place. I am whole. I am whole. You are your source. You are your supply. I am.
absolutely. And that breaks the 4-minute mile. Your capacity to expand can only be as far as your belief in how wide your envelope is. And so every
And
time you say, I am whole, that's a new realization. It's not an epiphany, it's just a new remembering of what that really means.
yes, and your belief that you need to expand is only an illusion that you don't believe that you're that expanded already.
Exactly.
So if you sit with I am whole, you don't need to expand. You are expanded. And as you're aware that you're expanded, there's such an amazing surrender that just naturally takes place. That in that surrender, in that exhale of releasing that, you can't help but to even expand more without even trying.
It's true. In the realization of your expansion, in the attention on the light, all the rest of it dissolves in your lack of attention on it.
Right? There's no more doing, Barbara, in the commitment.
No,
It's just creating.
right. And isn't that what Barbara spoke about when
Yeah,
she was realizing? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Amazing. Donna, thank you for sharing. I'm glad that came in. Um, so Barbara, I love what you're sharing here. I felt the pressure on my forehead like a pressure on my third eye. It was comforting and powerful at the same time. You are feeling yourself, woman. Lori, me too, Barbara. Cool, love it. I have it on my crown too. Um, Linda, what message came in for me? I am wholeness, not just whole, then I am complete. An iridescent pillar came in for me of gold, indigo, and violet from my throat to my crown into that mantra. Fascinating, empowering. Any energy that came up, y'all, if there's any lack, if there's any not enoughness or anything that felt like it needed resolution, whatever was reverberating in the awareness of that wholeness, realize that that is actually a spinning, that is a pillar of your light that is acting like a vortex and is actually bringing into alignments and cohesion that wholeness. And so whatever isn't of that cohesion will get spun into the balance, or will get spun out into perhaps something that wasn't yours to carry to begin with and given out to where it originated from. And this is just, it's balance in the energy. It's not like I'm giving the darkness back to the darkness. It's like there's no war, there's no fight in any of it. It's the natural order of how things just are. According to the physics of our spirituality, those laws, those divine laws that are the creation of our reality, the true creation of our reality. So it's quite beautiful. Donna, thank you for sharing. Anybody else have any comments or questions before we hang up tonight? All right, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Donna,
Love and blessings.
loving blessings, everybody. Loving blessings. Thank you all so much.
And thank you for invoking Kutumi.
Good to me.
He was always the master of the Far East that I feel the closest to.
As an ascended master, he's amazing what comes through Katumi. Y'all may want to look him up, or we can explain more about Katumi on the next session, but he's one of the ascended masters that comes in as really a pillar for the consciousness on Earth, and what we're creating here. So it's beautiful. Tara, I saw fire. Things burned in the fire. Awesome. And again, this was 5 minutes, y'all. Imagine sitting this every day for 12 minutes or 20 minutes. 5 at a minimum, at least 2 or 5 minutes every day. It will definitely activate and inspire this awareness. Again, the codification, we'll call it your DNA activating, but it's so much more than that. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Thank you so much. It's always so much fun to be here. Thank you for receiving me, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye,
Love
everybody.
you, John.
Love you
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Night, Mary.
Good night.
Mary, hi and
Hi,
bye.
honey. Hi, bye.
Hi,
I've
bye.
been here listening, sweetheart.
Awesome. Bye, Joe. Bye, Carlotta. Bye, Dawn. I'm
Bye.
so glad you made it today. Bye, everybody.